What if ants were the size of humans? Ants are tiny, but there are a lot of them. Like, a lot. For every human on Earth, there are roughly 2.5 million ants. If you combined all their weight, they'd roughly equal the biomass of all humans on the planet. That's already scary, but now imagine if they were each the size of a person. No, wait, don't imagine. Let's simulate. You wake up one morning and something feels off. There's a low rumble in the distance, like a train, but there are no train tracks near your house. You open your window, and then you see it. A six-legged shape, taller than a truck, crawling over your neighbor's fence with surgical precision and terrifying calm. It's an ant, and it's enormous. But this isn't a one-time freak mutation. This is a global event. Every ant, everywhere, has suddenly been resized to human scale. We're talking 20 quadrillion ants, each standing around 1.7 meters tall. Not only would this completely shatter every ecosystem on Earth, it would also destroy most of our cities. Not because the ants are evil, but because they're organized, more organized than us. And now, they're massive. So, let's look at what would actually happen. First, physics. If ants scaled up in size without changing their proportions, they'd instantly collapse under their own weight. Their legs wouldn't be able to support them. Insects rely on the square cube law. Surface area grows with the square, but volume, and thus weight, grows with the cube. So a human-sized ant would weigh 100,000 times more than it should, and its exoskeleton would be useless. Breathing would be a problem too. Ants don't have lungs. They rely on simple diffusion to move oxygen through their tiny bodies. At human size, they'd suffocate. Unless evolution had already fixed this, let's say for the sake of the nightmare, that these new ants have biologically adapted to their new size. Their muscles are stronger, their exoskeletons denser, their circulatory systems upgraded. Now, we have 20 quadrillion intelligent siege tanks roaming the Earth. So, what's their next move? They build. Ants are incredible architects. Leafcutter ants create underground cities with ventilation systems. Army ants can build bridges out of their own bodies. Now, imagine that, but scaled up. You'd see living skyscrapers built overnight, tunnels beneath continents, colonies spanning entire countries. Where we take months to construct a building, ants would do it in hours, without blueprints, without errors, without ego. And then comes the economy. Ants don't have money, they operate on instinct and efficiency. No weekends, no burnout, no 9 to 5. Every individual exists to serve the colony. Now that they're human-sized, resources become an issue. Food, space, materials. And the colonies won't just compete with nature anymore. They'll compete with us. At first, it might seem peaceful. Maybe we study them. Maybe we make treaties. Maybe we convince ourselves they're just big bugs. But the truth is, ants don't negotiate. They don't need Twitter threads or government approvals. They act efficiently, silently. Your local supermarket? Claimed overnight. The roads, buried under foraging trails. The internet? They don't use it, but they will rip out the fiber cables if it gets in the way of the nest. And the military? Conventional weapons might work until you realize you're fighting not one massive invader, but trillions. Oh, and let's not forget, ants farm. Some species herd aphids for their sugary excretions. Others cultivate fungus in vast underground chambers. Now, at human scale, they might farm entire herds of cows, or us. By this point, humanity has split into factions. Some retreat underground, others try to coexist. The rest? Well, let's just say you don't want to be near a colony's expansion zone, especially during mating season. But here's the strangest part. Ants don't just fight us, they fight each other. Different species, different queens, different agendas. Wars between ant empires could eclipse anything humans have ever seen. Front lines spanning continents. Entire forests raised in days. The Amazon becomes a chessboard. Australia turns into an insect cold war. Eventually, Earth becomes a divided planet. Human zones, ant zones, and no man's lands filled with the wreckage of both. Cities once full of people are now shadowed by living walls of chitin. Ants don't sleep. They don't mourn. They just grow. And maybe, just maybe, after a few centuries of conflict and collapse, the Earth stabilizes again. But this time, it's their planet. So the next time you see a little ant crawling across your kitchen floor, Maybe don't squash it. Just say thank you for not being 6 feet tall. Yet.